Well, as you guys just saw from that intro,
oh no,
it's going to go all wrong. Well, we're predicting because it's the day before.
It is the day before, but let's just say it's going to work. It's fine. Everything's fine, but stay tuned for that one.
Everyone, now, before we go crazy on the dyno, a couple of things we had to do, much to Ben's discussed, that this is not appropriate for dyno.
I'm basically a financial advisor now. I've doubled my value of my vehicle by buying $800 worth of fittings.
And they can look at Ben's disappointed face.
Tears.
$800, Ben.
Bargain.
It's bargain, Ben. That was this guy's super discount too.
I may as well just become an employee at this point. Just work my debt off.
Oh, staff discount, bro. You should definitely do that.
Just work my debt off. All right, cool. $800.
Yeah, $800. Ben was definitely not happy doing that. But it's necessary because he wants to run methanol. He might as well just do it now while I'm in Perth.
Sure.
All right, so we're going to work in this hot sun and we're going to do the fuel system, or at least as much as we can do today.
And you get to watch me cry.
Yeah, so let's get on to it. Go.
Now, I would think this is pretty self-explanatory, but we need to empty the fuel cell to change the fuel hoses. Now, we are doing Raceworks 200 series PTFE hose, which is Teflon hose. This stuff is good for ethanol, methanol, 2000 PSI, which we're not going anywhere near. But this stuff is going to be the best option for Ben, and it's going to give him a bit of peace of mind over the stuff that we were using.
Now, because all of you guys decided we need to go E85, we need to take the foam out of this tank. Now, you can buy E80 foam, compatible foam, but we just don't know what this is because Ben got it off Marketplace. And knowing Ben's luck, it's probably the wrong stuff. So better take it out now and then Ben can buy some proper methanol, ethanol rated foam, or just leave the tank full. Whichever is easier. Oh God, this stuff is hard.
I mean, it's a 90% hit rate. Oh my God, she's the squirter.
You can't say that on YouTube.
What are you talking about? I'm just saying it squirts everywhere.
Oh wow, that tank is so clean.
What do you mean it's not cheap fuel?
Yeah, I know, that's the sad thing. It still tastes like crap when it's dripping in your mouth.
Now that we've got the fuel out, what we need to do is work out what length we need these hoses. First thing I'm going to do is put these fittings on the tank and those pumps so I can work out what length I need. Then Ben's going to take it over to the bench and he's going to do his best job cutting these up and getting them ready to push together. Now I'll be honest, these are actually my favourite fittings. They're very easy to do. You just tape up the ends, you cut them like Ben has cut them. You get your nut, you put that on, you get your cone, you push that on, you push it onto the fitting, and then you just screw it up with a bit of silicone spray just to make it easy to tighten up. And that is it. And these things will take crazy pressure. And I really wish we just had the budget from the beginning to put these fittings on the whole car. It would have just saved us so much work. But anyway, that's in the past. Gotta do this a couple more times, and then we can move on to the next thing.
All right, as you see, we've done all these hoses. It's going good, but another thing we need to focus on is the actual tank and the vent system. So people forget about this, they don't really think about it, but if this is sucking fuel out, it needs to suck air into this tank. Also, when you got fumes on a hot day, it needs to release that. Now, obviously on a burner car, the thing catches fire around fumes, it's gonna be a bad day. So a lot of people just cap them. That's the wrong way of doing this. You really need a vent. And that's what I got here. So this one we're just screwing right on the tank. And that is wrong because when Ben, tips this in or whatever, that is going to be an issue because that can let fuel out. So eventually what we're going to do, just so to let you know, we're going to put this up here and we'll put some bends on there and make it look nice. But for now, that is going to work. Don't judge me. Don't leave comments saying you've done it wrong because we know it's wrong. We will change it later.
And now that we've got that done, it's time to start this car up and see if we have any leaks. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put fuel in this car. I'm going to put a battery in. Ben has done the spark plugs out the front. And if you have a look, you can see that we've done the transmission core lines as well. The downside is we're not really super stoked about how things have lined up. So we will end up doing these hard lines again. But for the meantime, this will be fine to get this ready for the dyno. Now let's see if you can get this thing running. Look, let's see if that was the old tune. Now, if you're wondering why there's so many people all around the car, it's because we're all trying to check for leaks and try and get on top of them as quick as possible. Because the last thing you want to do is have your car on the dyno and leaking anything. But this is all clear, so now we're going to load this up and take it to the dyno.
Yep, that's it.
I'm impressed. I did not think that was going to work. Oh, shit. Oh. Benny! It's on the dyno, mate. What do you think?
There is a mixed bag of emotions right now. I have no idea what to feel. There's so much going on.
Mate, this thing is going to go.
Is that the flames or the rods? Like what?
Well, I hope it's just the flames.
Because
So we're tuning on 98.
yes,
Fuel.
yes,
How much power you reckon?
225.
225.
I have the utmost.
You know, it'd been a lot cheaper just to put LS in this thing. You know that, right? LS.
Let's not talk that. We're not going there.
So we are here. We're at RK Garage. They got a YouTube channel, guys. You should definitely check them out. Reese, what a champion! Look at him. He's behind here. He's
winning.
He's very, very scared of the Triton.
He's terrified.
Terrified, and we're kind
We
of.
also have Ben from Heen Customs.
Yeah,
so
Ben.
we got Reese and Ben.
Reese
It's,
and-
alter ego, alter universe stuff going on right now.
Man, I'm excited. I want to see this thing actually make some
I'm
boost.
excited, but I'm terrified.
Okay, so if you guys have been following us, we've got a $5 manifold, which is a fire extinguisher.
Yep.
This is how this all started. And we got a wastegate on the intake.
With a Magnum manifold and eBay turbos.
How could it go wrong?
All right, dyno tuning 101, let's talk about what he's doing right now. This is called steady state tuning, and pretty much what he's doing is he's told the dyno, hey, I don't want this car to rev past 2000 RPM, and then what he's doing is he's putting his foot on the throttle, he's loading the car up into different load cells. So let's say 2000 RPM at 90 kPa, that particular load cell, he's got the car locked in that position, and now he's going to add timing until he hears knock. Once he hears knock, he's then going to back it off a little bit, and then he's going to move on to the next load cell. What this means is you're giving your car as much torque and power as possible at that particular load cell, and it gives the car a lot better drivability as well. The downside is you can only steady state tune to a certain amount before you start doing power runs to then work out the rest of your map. But at that point, you should pretty much have a pretty good idea of what is safe to do so. If that's what you're thinking, you are correct. Something has gone horribly wrong here. That is 8 psi boost, and that car just made 52 horsepower at 5,000 RPM. The car should at least be making 200 horsepower easy with 7 psi and 5,000 RPM. Now, logically, in this situation, the best place to go is back to the beginning and check your base timing. So that's what we're about to do. Yes, finally, the right direction. We're heading somewhere. Well, that's what we thought until this then happened on the very next pool. All right, we have just done the dyno, and as you see, we've made an amazing 58 horsepower. Ben is stoked. 3 years work, mate, right there. You've actually lost 2/3 of the power.
I feel great and excited.
He's excited in the pants. Reese is not. Reese is upset.
Yes, this looks like a bad reflection on my work.
No. This is definitely not on Reese. So obviously, if you got a boost curve here, the power chart should pretty much follow the boost. It's definitely not doing that. That's
consistent.
That's a bad one. Reese, what do you reckon, mate?
It's weird. It's like there's no torque. It's just laboured down. It's not revving freely. It's not revving nicely through a run. It's just like it's got the handbrake wedged on and it's held back. It's weird.
Yeah, we're starting to think that maybe it's something to do with the gearbox. It was really the only thing it could be. Maybe the engine's hurt, but it doesn't really sound that hurt. It's not like one side's flaming and the other side's not.
Consistent.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds healthy. I think it might be under-timed or the base timing might be off because it's throwing flames mid-run, which it shouldn't do, which makes it seem like, the timing's way out on it. But I don't want to throw timing on it and send rods straight in the moon straight away. So.
But we want to see his rods to the moon. Ben, what do you think of your hard work, mate, going down the drain?
Yeah, look, I highly recommend it. 5 stars, do it.
All right, we're going to try to unplug the gearbox. I'm going to send Ben underneath there because I'm not doing it.
New set of plugs.
New set of plugs, and we'll see how we go. So bear with us, guys. But yeah, this is a bit of a shit show at the moment.
And those words pretty much sum it up. Now, we've checked the timing again, and it has moved again, so we're going to reset that back in. We don't know what's going on there. We have disconnected the gearbox by the factory ECU. Now, we're still running the factory ECU with aftermarket ECU running the engine. A couple of the sensors do share both the factory ECU and the aftermarket ECU, and that does include the crank angle sensor and the cam angle sensor. That could be causing an issue as well. Unfortunately, we don't have the time or the tools to actually get in there and rewire anything, so we're hoping by just unplugging the gearbox from the factory ECU, we can get something to happen.
What you doing, Ben?
Retightening my boost clamps back on.
And why are you doing that, mate?
Because we decided to make more power by going for the NA route.
So yeah, we thought maybe there might be a restriction happening in here. Doesn't seem to be the case. So
Gremlins.
well, yeah, timing, it's just so bizarre. Anyway, we're knocking stuff off the list.
Eliminating problems, hoping for the best. We might get a decent run in, but we might not. So it's okay. It's what we're here for. This is why we do things on dynos, and
That's it. Well, it wasn't going to fix itself.
that's right.
Is it that hot, Ben?
It is very hot, and I can't feel my fingers.
Well, there you go. disconnecting the gearbox, disconnecting the O2 sensors and the air intake sensor has absolutely done nothing to help us. So I am just at that point where I was getting really over this. And I've just turned to Reese and I've said, mate, look, you know what? Let's just put 100% into that solenoid and give this thing all the boost just to see if it actually changes anything. And if that doesn't work, feel free to put in some extra timing just to see if doing that is going to put us in the right direction of what is going on. Right, guys, we've just finished up, and this is a very sad man. 3 years, bro, or 2.5 years.
Yep. And we made stock plus 10.
Stock plus 10. So we don't actually know what's going on with this thing. It's got some sort of gremlin.
Yep.
Poor Reese, he's been working hard trying to figure this out.
Yep.
You know,
Had to feed him some electrolytes. He was sweating, you know. He was getting his sweat on.
absolutely. I mean, who knows? At this point, we tried to NA, that didn't do anything.
Retimed it.
We put all the boost, did nothing.
Tried a different trigger system.
Tried all the timing, did nothing. I mean, it's
Oh, I
just,
don't like that now. That's even worse than the other one.
that is worse.
Yeah.
I'll pick a better one for you.
No,
There is, I don't think there is a better one.
I think we had the 150, whatever it was. It's fine. It's okay. It's still sad. I'm fine. I'm fine. We'll just hug it out later.
I'm not hugging you. Look at that, 50, 50, 50. Oh, you got 89, man. That's a good one.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, guys, we're going to have to leave it here. I got to head back to Perth.
Albany.
Oh, sorry, I head back to Albany, and Ben's going to go home and cry.
And I've just got to go buy a whole bunch of new sensors and hope that fixes it, or else.
Well, I don't
don't
know.
know.
I don't know what we're going to do, mate. It's
Lesson learned, just don't.
yeah. The end of the story is don't twin turbo a Triton.
Thanks for watching all the episodes, and this concludes it. I'm just going to go and burn this, and we'll start again.
See you on the next one, guys.
See ya.
Just a little sneak peek for you guys. I've watched to the end. As you see here, we found that the harmonic balancer had split from the crank, which is never good. And also we found out that we had the wrong leads. Anyway, there you go.